You're watching Taste of Victory.
Hey guys, welcome back. We just had an exciting weekend of big regional tournaments for the new set that came out this same weekend, well actually a week ago now, and that is BT13. So, of course, let's go ahead and take a look at all the results to see what the meta is shaping up like. It is only the first week of a couple of regionals, so we shouldn't take this all with like set in stone mentality. Take it all with a grain of salt as the meta will develop and people will come up with counters to top decks. First up, we'll start with Tax Oceania webcam tournaments. So this was, I believe, 76 people across 6 rounds. Here it is, 74 players. There you go. Thank you very much. Shout out to Eggman on their Eggman Events website, which provides all this as an invaluable tool for the community. If you've been watching this channel, you guys know how much I incredibly value and appreciate the preservation of a game's competitive history, so show Eggman some love. So first off the bat, something we'll notice is the Shine Greymon is the most represented in this tournament, but not necessarily by the largest margin. It's a pretty diverse top 16. In a second, we'll also see that our North American webcam tournament regional also backs that up, which implies that this isn't as big of a disparity between the top decks in this format as it's been in previous ones. Like Beelzemon had a runaway success with the format that it was in. Blue Hybrids had a runaway success. Between this Oceania results and North America's regional results, it seems to be a lot more even this time around. Like they're still top decks, but it's a lot more evened out playing field. Anyways, first place was Shine Greymon taking the entire event, and that was predicted to be one of the best decks in the format, with a lot of people putting it in their tier 1 predictions list. So let's go ahead and look at the first and second place. They did take up a lot of the top 8 results. Let's go ahead and see if there's any major differences between the two lists. First up is first place, which was, I believe, let's give credit where credit is due, by Aiden Redpath. Congratulations to them. So this is their pretty standard looking list here. We see the one of Ruin mode. We see the new Shine Burst mode, 4 Marcuses of the old and new one, and the yellow egg base. This Koromon is the one that once per turn, one of your red yellow teamers becomes a spin, and when your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP. So that is really cool there to get that additional DP minus. It breaks certain threshold. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty standard list, I feel like. You got the one Rise Gray X, which might be spicy. But yeah, you're turboing up to your top end. You're creating a stack in your raising area and a stack in front, and you're swinging with your Marcuses. If we go ahead and take a look at the second place list, we see some Solarmon in here. Now that's a spicy tech there, because I believe that it stops like all players can't reduce their play cost. So that's a little tech for the Royal Knights matchup there. I do like that. It's pretty cool. This one is a lot more teched out. We see we have the Death Xmon in there as a funny one-up as well. And then we also have the Reinforced Memory Boost, which I don't believe we saw in the other one. Pretty cool options there. I do like that to give you answers to certain meta decks and ways to come back from bad starts. That's interesting little tech choices there. And it seems like it really worked out for them coming all the way to second, which obviously everyone wants to win, but like second place, you gotta acknowledge your achievement there. That is amazing to make it out of nearly 100 players. Congratulations to them. So pretty cool tech choices there, but we see like generally there is like a kind of established build, because a lot of the decks in BT13 and before do kind of like half build themselves, because you have like these effects, that black text box that tells you get a reduced cost for digivolving over these guys which are in their line. So a lot of it is made, you know, out of the line, out of just tossing in the stuff dictated by that black text box, but really interesting nonetheless there. Let's take a look at third place list, which was a Galmon now. So it's really cool to see Mirage Galgamon doing some stuff. Third place in Oceania. Let's see the list here. We have one of the BT13 one preferring to max out on the BT11 one, which trashes a security to your opponent's hand, and then could potentially bounce something level 5 or lower as well. We see 2 Full Moon Blasters. We see Sorai. We see 2 Nikolai, which people seem to debate if they like it or not. Seeing there, and Wanyaman to make sure we get a draw when we have a tamer out. Other than that, pretty standard list, because you are running a lot of the in-archetype guys with their names, so it's pretty cool there to see that. After that, we do get another unique deck making it into the top 8, which is a Greymon Tribal, rather Black War Greymon X. We see the list here. This was from, so third place was Jarrett Wilson, and then fourth place was Chia Loon and Black War Greymon. A lot of ways you can build this deck, and it seems they are opting for a very toolbox top end with a bunch of one-ups for the top ends. The only one that's actually maxed out, or rather ran more than just one copy, is Black War Greymon X, because that thing is absolutely ridiculous to be able to redirect and pop stuff. It's super good to the format. You have Raid, the old BT8. We have even a War Greymon X there, and a Gaiomon to let you be a bit more aggressive, and Omnimon to safely potentially go for a game, I'm assuming. And even a Blitz Omni. There's a lot of one-ups here. Like, it's pretty crazy to make sure you have something for every opportunity here. But that's like, with all the names Greymon has now in their like archetype, yeah, that's just like how far it goes now. You can afford to run all these one-ups, and they're all super good and relevant in multiple parts of the game. But congratulations to them. It looks like the top end so far seems to be pretty accurate prediction. Like, a lot of people were saying like Shine, Belphemon, Mirage Galgamon, and Black War Greymon are more or less are going to be like people's top decks into the format. So it seems like that's kind of shaping up to be true as of now. We do see a Bloomlord sneaking into to top 8 at 5th place and an Alphamon at 7th. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. So congratulations to them, to Sai and Tristan. So let's go ahead and look at the Bloom Lord and the Alphamon, because it's really interesting to see that these things are topping. Because Bloom Lord has some really rough matchups into Shine in this format, and I think you also kind of lose the Blue Flare if I'm not mistaken, unless they can out Cherrymon. So like, you have a very tough meta to play through as the Bloom player. So it's really interesting to see that they're able to get all the way up into top 8 here in Oceania, which is awesome to them. It looks like there's actually multiple in there, so maybe we Doom posted a little bit too much for Bloom Lord. It's actually able to do well, but pretty standard list, I would say. The one Izzy there, that's definitely not standard. When one of your opponent Digimon becomes suspended, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory, which you will be doing a lot of that, and it's only a 2-cost tamer, I believe, so that does make sense why they would put that in there. I do like that as a cheeky little tech, that's pretty cool. Other than that, I see a lot of the same top end now with the Sunflowmon tossed in, or rather the same bottom end with the Sunflowmon and the new Lalamon tossed in to increase their consistency and stuff, so that's pretty cool there. Glad to see that they did well. And if we look at the Alphamon, it's really interesting. I was wondering if this was going to see like some new play and do well with the new support that it got in Booster Set 13. They are running 2 of the new Alphamon, and of course they're maxing out on the old Doru Gray, or rather the new Doru Gray, my apologies, because you do want some form of protection now that the old one is limited to 1. And it seems like that was enough to bring it back into relevancy. The top 8 is fantastic. They got the Mercurymon, and they got the new Dorogumon in there as well, which gives it an extra DP bonus that's inheritable. And a nice little tech of Final Zubagon Punch, just a 1-of to be able to get big DP numbers, security attack +1, blocker, and reboot. Like, it's a really good card. So I do like that as a tech. I guess it just has a really good matchup into certain stuff, because you can stop a lot of Royal Knights plays. You have DP protection against Shine Greymon. Like, on paper, it seems like a good meta call, and it worked out for them. I guess it just depends how you build it and, you know, what you were making the call for on what you expect to see. So congratulations to them. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the top 16 results for our North America regional that just happened this weekend as well.
So here we have the North American PPG regional that just happened, and similar to the Oceania one, like I mentioned, we do see a pretty damn diverse top 16. Nothing is taking up a gigantic chunk of this, again, like Beelzemon or Blue Hybrids was. We got Royal Knights taking up a very good representation for a lot of people honestly underrating it before, at least in the YouTube space. We got Hunters that a lot of people just kind of forgot about, not even like wrote it off. They just forgot and didn't assume it would stick around. Shine's doing really good. Bloom is doing a lot better than people expected to give it credit for. And then a lot of diverse decks after that, even Blue Flare and All Force coming in clutch in top 16. That's pretty crazy. So if we look at the first place list, that was George Dagantis with Belphamon. So Belphamon is really cool, because once you get this thing going, it's kind of hard to stop its turn. And instead, they do everything and they can't to stop your turn. We see a lot of the synergy expected to go into it, you know, because you got the Kudata with the stuff to blow up the Proto-Gizamons to reduce the cost and all that stuff. Psychmon for the Royal Knights matchup, and a bunch of your tech options there. Demi-Miramon Egg for the quick draws and discards, all very good. And then of course you max out on your guys. So pretty cool list here. Definitely take notes if you're trying to pilot Belphamon. It's really interesting to see that it did as well as it did, because like this is a pretty good counter into Royal Knights decks. So I guess like week 1, you know, people are really excited to try out this fancy new Royal Knights deck, and maybe they got paired into a bunch of it, and I think that helped a lot. Shine was probably. They also do pretty decently into Shine and Bloom if you know what you're doing, so congratulations to them. That is awesome. After that, we got second place Hunters with Riley Hook. That is insane. Second place Hunters. It went not just top 8, it went really far, all the way to top 2, like second place. That is amazing. Really low count on the Ikakimon, which kind of surprises me. I feel like people usually really like to go up on that one to combo it with Omni Shoutmon or King Shoutmon's inheritable to blow stuff up that's bigger than it would be otherwise. Other than that though, pretty standard list, because like again, as I was mentioning with Shine, a lot of this deck list is dictated to you by the text on the cards. Like, you kind of just have to run the standard list. Watchmaker at 4 is pretty cool. That's really funny there, because like a lot of people bounce between 3 or 4, but I think 4 makes a lot of sense because that card is just absolutely cracked and helps you speed up your game plan. So like 4, so you always see it, it makes sense. It also feels never bad to like open it. Like, you just want tamers on the field, and it gets you a really good generous search, so that makes a lot of sense to finally max out on that. And then 3 Clockmons. I see a lot of people run 2, but like, yeah, I get it. Like, that inheritable to give something jamming is so important in this deck when your boss monster is only like 10k. Even with DP boost, only like 12 or so k, you know? So that is huge. I really do like that. Nothing fancy, no crazy Mega Ace tech, just good standard Hunters and a player difference. That is amazing. And we saw 3 of them here in top 16. If we look at the other one from 7th place, Isaac, which is still a top 8 finish. That's amazing. Not even like top 16 at 12th place or anything, another top 8 finish. This one did have a Melga Ace, but from what I understand in the rumblings I've been hearing, that didn't really come up all too often. So it could have just been like another Clockmon instead. Otherwise, yeah, pretty super standard list, even with 2 Ikakimon as well. I guess that's getting cut down more now. So yeah, just do not underestimate this deck. It has tools to answer a lot of meta decks, and because of that, and its ability to come back from behind with all of its Tamers effects, like, it's just super, super good.
So that is a lot of the representation so far. If we go to Royal Knights, we see our first Royal Knights list, which is Peter Franqui at 3rd place. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at this. I'm assuming there's a bunch of text here to deal with like Psychmons and stuff like that. The Sekipon Meppa is something I was not expecting. That is not a card I saw talked about very often at all. While you have a Digimon with Royal Knight trait in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements, unsuspend one of your Digimon. I guess that makes sense to help go for lethal, you know, put on pressure and stuff. Then if that Digimon is Jesmon GX, activate one of its Wind Digivolving effects. Security, play this card. Do you see he runs Jesmon GX? I guess that is really interesting. But what would you Digivolve over in this deck? Do you just hard slam it out? When Digivolve, you play one card Royal Knights in this trade and play goes from your hand or trash on this Digimon. Is it Digimon? Yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, you could slam it out with one of the effects, Sekipon Mecha, to then activate whatever. That's pretty interesting there. I like that a lot. Wow, a lot of I hadn't seen. I don't know if there was much discussion about that, but I saw a lot of the testing for Royal Knights be a lot more standard than that. So that's pretty cool. Very funny tech there. It's Digimon Blanc to be able to quickly draw more to make sure you keep up pace with other decks. Really smart there. The Congo is very fascinating. Now, if I just missed the discussion on Sekipon Meppa and Jesmon GX, cool. But I definitely did not see much about Congo discussed at all. So that is really interesting there to stop lethal from your opponents and also to not get your security trashed. And also, I guess for the security control matchup to stop them from recovering, that's really cool there. I love to see the text coming in clutch already. 3rd place is a very awesome high finish. So super shout outs to them. We even had one Porcupamon to deal with cards like Psychmon and all those blockers. So awesome there. Very good tech out choices, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm really good to see it doing well. We see another Shangreymon here at 4. So a lot of the predicted best decks seem to be, be up there performing with what people were expecting. Here we see Shine with the Agu X. This one is a red bottom M compared to the yellow one that we saw previously in Oceania. We got a TK in there and yellow memory boost. Excuse me. Other than that, looking like it's pretty standard. You got the Shining Burst in there, which is really good spot removal and also plays Dual Marcus. So overall, really solid stuff here. Cool to see it doing well. The one of Rise Gray, I guess it's pretty standard. My bad. But yeah, that was awesome. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that Greymon Travel to see how it compares to the rest. Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty standard Greymon list. You know, it's basically just comes down to your tech choices and how it deviates. 3x antibodies, though, that's pretty cool. No Cool Boy is interesting, though. I guess you don't really have as much evolution to trigger it. Even though it has a lot, it looks like it has a lot of search targets, you're not really getting as much like value off of it when digivolving, I guess. So it makes sense. You have enough consistency between all the other stuff as well. So yeah, it makes sense. Between all your August, you probably got your searches covered. Pretty awesome there. And of course, upon hearing an All Force made top 16, I'm sure people want to see the list. So that is 12th place, Austin Harvey. And if we go ahead and take a look at that, this is the All Force list. 4 Wanya eggs, because as I've mentioned in a couple of deck profiles now, that is just the new best generic egg in blue. Like, it's just ridiculous, easy draw, it's so good. It seems to be using the Leo Force package that people have been experimenting with before because it's just really solid. Being able to quickly pull that dude out, even potentially on an opponent's turn to get a new block and then even get the draw and stuff like that if the block is deleted, like, it is very good combo when it goes off well. Sora Joe is just an absolutely timeless, incredible tamer that I'm really surprised we don't see more of because it will always be like such consistently stripping, and you will eventually get the actual memory boost off as well. 1 Ice Wall, 3 Sarai, just insane momentum tool to stop your opponent from swinging for a couple turns. While there is a lot of stuff that gets around it now easily with like burst modes, for example, they still need to get up to that or see the piece. So for other decks that don't have access to that, it is a little bit harder for them to get past the stun of no forces. But for the majority of decks, I think all forces will be able to handle that just fine. So very cool, yeah. 4 of the BT13 Beatramon, 2 of the Star Deck 1 Arrow Beatramon, because that is just like super good security attack +1, and then jamming pressure. Awesome, yeah. I feel a lot of this comes down to the pilot and knowing their matchups really well and just how to pilot All Force very well. Like, mad shout outs to them. Would love to do a profile on the channel, just get more in-depth thoughts because I really want to know the inner workings of it and how are you piloting, like what choices are you making into the meta decks of this format. And this was out of 414 players, so pretty stacked good results here. A lot of data we could pull from this. And speaking of data, I am really happy to bring you this awesome section of the video, possible only thanks to Jeff Ruberg, who took this data and compiled it into matchup charts and conversion rates. So like, huge shout out to Jeff Ruberg. This is amazing, and this is like the kind of invaluable data that YouTubers should be basing their tier lists off of. That YouTubers can base their tier lists off of, that people can make decisions on deck building and all that stuff. But like, this is incredibly valuable data to a game's competitive history, to their deck building within the current format. Like, man, shout out to this dude. I have so much appreciation. Link to their Twitter will be in the description below. Definitely show them some love. If we go ahead and look up their matchup chart, so like, you read this from left to right, or bottom to left, you know exactly. So for example, if I start here with Shine and I go to the right into Mirage Galgamon, Shine Greymon, of the times that it met in this tournament, won 53.8% of the times. So this is a very interesting matchup chart because we got some amazing statistics in here. Like this gives us so much like data on the results of this tournament. Like if we look at Belphemon, it has a 26.7% matchup into Mirage Galgamon. Mirage is winning it 53.8% out of all the times it faced it in this tournament. And there's a breakdown to here on the right, you can read it too. Number of games where the other two decks face each other, percentage of games where the road deck beat the column deck. So just like, that's incredible. So much interesting data. I love to see this, and I hope we can get this for every like format or every big regional going forward. Greymon seems to have an incredibly very good win percentage going into this format. Like, man, 59, like lowest is 37.7 into Royal Knights, which is really interesting because you would just assume they could raid into everything. You know, just be able to raid, knock off their mega that they slam for the turn, and continue doing your own stuff. But it seems like Royal Knights is able to actually keep pace very well with it in its matchups. Because if we look at Royal Knights after that, I believe they now have the highest win percentage out of this chart, like overall. That Bloom Lord matchup into Blue Flare is insane, by the way. Why is it beating Blue Flare so easily? That's crazy. But yeah, looks like Royal Knights has the highest win percentage out of everything. Its lowest is only 40% to Belphemon. And I really wonder how much of that is just because it's week 1 and people are getting used to seeing these new cards and stuff and like not really knowing what the next Royal Knight is going to do, is going to come out, is going to do. So they're not able to accurately prepare as much for it, you know, play around it and stuff. That is just very interesting. Shine also has an incredibly high win percentage, very consistently into everything. Actually, I think it beats Royal Knights just barely because like its lowest one is only 44.3% against Royal Knights, which otherwise has a really good win rate percentage into absolutely everything else. So like, this is super amazing. It looks like Royal Knights is one of the best performing decks into this format. Then it was Shine. After that, it seems to be somewhere around like Greymon. After that, Bloom was very consistent. And then Belphemon seems to have some hard losing matchups. It really struggles into Shine and to Mirage Galgamon. Everything else it does pretty okay into though. And so I guess maybe we really did underrate Royal Knights, but I'm really curious to see like going forward if that will hold and how much of that is first week. After that, we also have conversion rates brought to us by them. Like this is the conversion rate of top 64, top 32, and top 16 with their overall number of players. So what I understand here is like Hunters has an absolutely insane conversion rate. Like if you look at this, out of 12 players, the highest conversion rate, 25% into top 64, 25% into top 16, like overall 6.7. It literally has the highest out of everything here. Now, to be fair, that's because there's only 12 decks in there. It's not as, you know, big of a pool of bad players, quote unquote. I don't like calling anyone a bad player, but you know what I mean. Like people not familiar with the deck that are going in because it's hyped up and they don't know what to do with it in the tournament as well. Like Shine has 79 players, so yeah, that's going to have an abysmal conversion rate when a lot of people are going 1-3 drop, you know, where they're just playing for their input, for their participation and stuff. So I think that you got to take into context and excuse it a little bit, but like, man, with people that are on Hunters knew Hunters very well and how to answer better decks. So I think that if you understand the format, there's a lot to be discovered with Hunters. You know, definitely do not sleep on that deck. But yeah, Shiny Greymon's conversion was abysmal. That's insane. Overall 0.98%. It's even in the top 64, 1.23, like that's crazy. Really curious, Worth Royal Knights is 2.8% is not the worst at all. That's actually one of the higher ones off here. Yeah, what is it, like third highest after All Force and Hunters? 0% conversion rate for Beelzemon. And what I find really interesting, there was like a 0% conversion rate for Mirage Galgamon into top 16. Like it ended up doing great in Oceania, but here with a bigger scale of tournaments and 34 participants, 0% conversion is insane. It did get some top 32 representation, only 3.1% though, so nothing like amazing. Definitely one of the lower conversion rates on here out of anything that actually converted. So there's just a lot of fascinating data to break down here. I could be here all day, make a spreadsheet out of this, flowchart and stuff. This is super cool. But I'm just giving guys a quick peek at all this to help you guys be up to date on the format. Let me know what you think of all of it. I think this is going to be really cool going forward if we get more of this. I think it's one of the most diverse formats we've seen in a while. And maybe a lot of that is because people are still figuring it out. But man, I'm having fun figuring it out. This is super cool. I really think going forward, it's still going to be remaining a pretty diverse format. So I'm excited and I can't wait to see how it shapes up. I hope you guys are too. If not, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.